Hello, guys, and welcome to my channel on Knowledge Central. So, hope everyone is doing great. I'm Girish, and I'm working as a data engineer in Netherlands. So, in this video, uh, which actually focuses on job application, and how to land a dream job, etc., etc. In that series, this is actually one of the videos which I wanted to make uh, to prepare students or aspiring job applicants to exactly get to know what you should be ready even before thinking about job applications, right? So when I mean by before job applications is uh, time before you actually go to the job website or search in professional websites like LinkedIn. You need to be a little bit prepared and create a foundation actually before even applying to companies. So in this video, I'll be going through quick but quite important prerequisites like documents and profiles so that you're much more confident and you're already set to a level where you can just start applying to different companies and yeah, get started. So yeah, let's go. So the first and foremost important thing, as everyone knows, actually pretty reasonable to start with CV or resume, because that is like your uh, record of all the achievements, your experiences, your interests, hobbies, your skill sets, etc., etc. But the idea is to be ready with a CV or resume, which is a little generic, and also it sometimes much more specific to specific roles or specific companies you're applying for. So be ready with multiple sets of resumes, one pretty generic, and few a little bit more specific in the roles you're applying for. Because, for instance, in the field of data science, you have a lot of domains which use data science. So you need to make sure that if you want to apply for data science based roles, you should also make sure that your CV is not only in line with data science specialties, skill sets, etc., but also a little bit in line with the domain you're applying for. So something like that, keep in mind. So this is one of the first and foremost important documents. And I think I would probably make a separate video in this playlist or in a few weeks' time to exactly have a separate video on how to enrich or prepare your CV or resume and what are the important topics to include and what to do, what not to do, uh, especially with a lot of applications I've gone through in my first job. So especially I'll probably also put down things which I've learned, etc., etc. So one of the documents, again, prerequisite, pretty straightforward, is CV, get it in the right format, also include the necessary sections. Again, if you're applying for a job, more like a, role-based companies, you need to make sure that it's aligned to a specific role, or if you're going for a PhD, again, it needs to be aligned with, the PhD requirements, of course, because there you might need to highlight with certain things and in other, factory, or for example, if it's an IT job, there are different things to be taken care of. So one of the important things is CV. So not going into detail, of course, as I told before, but it's really important to focus as much as possible in CV because this is one of the first steps recruiter or talent acquisition specialist of a particular company is going to look at. So one of the first and foremost important components, and that's why I'm starting with it. Pretty straightforward. And next one is, again, I think you guys should have been much familiar with this cover letter, sometimes called as a motivational letter, motivational cover letter. They use different terms. Again, this is also something which has to be really specific for the company and for the role. Just keep in mind. And I think in order to prepare for CV or cover letter, I think three important things to keep in mind. And this, I think I've spoken in one of the previous videos. If you look into this playlist or my channel, you'll know three important questions to keep in mind. Actually, it's just three, right? And three important whys, why you, why company, and why that particular role. So just keep these three in mind when you're writing the cover letter. Again, it shouldn't be too long, too short, should be concise. And we'll be going through in detail about how to write a cover letter, especially for role-based context in upcoming videos again. So again, that's the second important thing. And most of the companies which have their at least within Europe or Netherlands at least ask for these two, resume, CV, or cover letter. So keep these two ready, and also have a generic one, and also have a role-based one, or domain-specific cover letters. So make sure that you have a little bit, again, personalized towards a particular company, particular role, particular team, etc. And cover letter, again, resume should also be definitely tailor-made to a particular company and the role, right? Simple. These two are quite important. And the third one, again, which are a little bit less focused, is your LinkedIn profile, right? First two, everybody are probably going to ace it. Your CV is going to be amazing, your profile is going to be stellar, and you're going to have a wonderful cover letter. But then it should also be in line with your LinkedIn profile. Nowadays, I think LinkedIn is getting popular and popular day by day, and then recruiters actually directly come to LinkedIn in order to, get your connection, and then probably they directly have a conversation. So make sure that whatever you're presenting in your CV, resume, cover letter is in line to your LinkedIn profile. Otherwise there'll be a little bit of a mismatch, and there'll be some trust issues. I'm not saying it's going to be really 100% match to match, and that's not necessary, but at least most of the things that you present in your CV are important, right? And then you're not able to put that achievements or profile, or say, for example, your education career, LinkedIn, then there's going to be a little bit mismatch, and this might not be a good shine on your side, right? So make sure your LinkedIn profile is always up to date. And again, there are many components in LinkedIn which you should take care of. A few of the things, again, top of my mind is your bio, your skills, and your work experience. And make sure that each of the section is also a little bit elaborate. And we'll cover in a separate video of how to handle these sections, and especially your bio and headline, and make sure that your display picture is also a little stellar, professional. So again, these are quick points I'm saying, but again, we need to work on definitely more in detail in a separate video. But again, this is a little bit underlooked compared to CV and resume and cover letter. But I think people are also aware that this is really important, and your recruiter is gonna probably look at your profile after going through your CV. In fact, your CV should probably have a link to your professional domain, like LinkedIn, right? But a few more things which are, again, not given that much importance are you need to have a basic preparation of an interview. Like before applying itself, imagine you are getting the call in a few hours after application. Like, what are you going to do? How are you going to handle it, right? And this has happened to me several times in Netherlands when I was applying for jobs. Recruiter calls me sometimes on the same day, right? So he or she will be like, hi, Girish, I've just seen your profile, looks interesting. Can we have a discussion? And initially, the first few weeks of my job application, I was a little bit thrown off. When I get an immediate call, I will probably fumble. I'll probably think before saying yes, or I would probably not be that ready. This is one of the mistakes which I probably learned from my experience. And again, it's better to be prepared with few basic questions. Like, for example, one of the first and foremost questions probably any interviewer, recruiter, your tech team lead, probably even in the last round of the interview, probably even the CEO, gonna ask this question of introduce yourself, right? Who are you? But the thing is, they know you, right? They have seen your CV, they have seen your resume, and even they would have put some efforts on going through your profile, right? But the idea is, how do you, put yourself when you're being asked a very generic question like this? What is your communication skills? Are you able to tell a story? Again, some beautiful components which we're going to get into detail later, but it's important to have a focus with the basic interview questions. Again, we'll discuss what a little later, but introduction about your career, about your skills, why you, and then why this company, why this role, as I mentioned before. So be ready with these 5 questions, and other questions should probably come in the flow, right? And of course, even before the interview, you need to be super confident in each and every word you put in your CV and resume, right? You cannot even think for, few seconds before answering a question based on your CV. Like if somebody asks you, okay, fine, you mentioned this as your hobby. How often do you do it, right? And then, of course, you can take some time to think for the answer, how to present it, but you shouldn't have a sense of doubt or, basically try to be 100% honest as possible, right? That's the single most important thing. At the same time, also be prepared with each and every word you've been put in the CV, cover as a resume. So do the homework in that way as well and prepare a basic set of questions. And one of the important ways to see the set of questions, again, LinkedIn offers a beautiful basic set of questions. If you go to the job section in LinkedIn, I can probably tell more when we are discussing about specifics of LinkedIn, how to prepare your profile, etc. But the idea is they have a separate section on job interviews and they have a separate some 30 to 40 questions, basic job interview questions. So make sure that that homework is done enough. But again, of course, there can be multiple new questions, thousands of, surprising questions. But this is the basic agenda, right? The basic of the basic, right? To have the foundation. So again, people are not focusing that much on this. And when they get the call and then, they fumble a little bit or you're surprised to get a call, or even you don't even know sometimes the company you apply for, because people sometimes apply for 10, 20 companies a day and then they forget the companies they apply for, and then they would be a little surprised. And that's also a little bit awkward, right? So make sure that you also have a list of companies you're applying, and check for the progress. So the next prerequisite are, again, is out of the blue, where people sometimes might need this, sometimes focus on this, but sometimes they do not, is to keep your diplomas ready. Again, of course, it might be a very simplistic, part, but after your first and second round, you might, or at least before your final round, they'll be asking diplomas. So make sure that you have your diplomas right, and make sure that you have this few things, especially, for example, your rank certificate, or you could, already keep these kind of documents, which might be necessary for your job applications, right? Especially for your PhD, you might need, really important things. Second is recommendations. Again, a little bit underrated, where you can get a certain, set of recommendations from your previous company or from your professor who you did your, say, for example, postdoc under for PhDs, or for example, LinkedIn as a beautiful space to get recommendations. So you can ask for recommendations to your supervisors, to your seniors, to your project team leads, etc., etc., etc. And again, I personally, before, if I'm, looking at someone's profile, if there are some recommendations, of course, that highlights them a little bit, this spot goes in the top of the desert. But again, it's a little bit underrated, or people don't consider the recommendations as something valuable add-on, but it is, especially recruiter sees, it'll definitely be a little bit of a, a bridge to a particular candidate. And finally, do upload your certifications if you have any, or at least mention in the cover letter or somewhere that you have done a particular course, you have particular skill set. And usually people upload this in LinkedIn, but make sure that you do, right? When you have gone through that much, time and effort in undergoing a particular course, certification, make sure that you also put it in, right? Make your certificate available, put the expiry date, or put your, the URL or the certificate number for validity or authentication. And of course, again, it has to be uploaded in LinkedIn, but pretty important place where, or at least pretty first place, which I can think about when you want to showcase your certification. But otherwise, I think you have now the foundation to start applying company. And the next steps we'll be covering in the next video in this playlist, or you can go to my channel on the career section or the subsection of this page, Knowledge Central. But I think with this, you are now ready to jump on. And the next steps, to give a very basic idea, is to start shortlisting companies, or start searching for companies, and how to do it, and how to, what are the different domains and platforms to search for. We'll be seeing another video. But yeah, until then, I wish you all the best and good luck for your job search. And yeah, confident time is going to come. You never know. Can be tomorrow, or can even be tonight, where you might be getting a call from someone. So make sure that you have this foundation right. And once you have this foundation right, you already set, you already have all the equipment and tools in your bag, you can confidently approach your journey, right? Instead of preparing the tools or preparing a document in between the process, or especially if some interview doesn't go well, and if you hear the feedback, they might be you didn't find the right match because you didn't put forward everything, right? So make sure that you have everything right in your CV, resume, LinkedIn. These three are the core pillars, and then of course make sure that you have recommendations to back up and all the other certifications. And once the basic interview questions are done, you are ready to dive in, right? So again, I wish you good luck, and please like and subscribe. And of course, please feel free to let me know in the comments if I missed anything, or if you want me to make a specific video on a particular component of job search, the career development page. Please let me know. I'll be happy to talk. And until then, goodbye and take care.